Hello and welcome to another tutorial. I'm Stefan Key, your Sonic Sorcerer, and in this video I wanted to give you a brief introduction and overview about how to use our new Planetary Chakra Healing template. And first of all, before we get into the template itself, maybe you ask yourself why it is called Planetary Chakra Healing. And it all goes down to discoveries of this awesome guy here, Hans Gusteau, a Swiss mathematician and musicologist who discovered the natural law of the cosmic octave as a link between different kinds of periodically occurring natural phenomena, such as the orbits of planets, the weather, colors, rhythms, and tones. So basically, he discovered a formula, and based on the movement, on the rotation of planets, he could calculate a frequency which he could then octave into a hearing range. So he could make basically the movements of the planets audible and musical, and that also goes back to Pythagoras with the cosmic octave and the idea that everything is sound and everything is vibration. And if we attune ourselves to those cosmic tones, then we get into harmony and balance. So basically, he calculated all the different planets of our solar system, and then intuitively they found out planets that resonated our chakras, because as above, so below, and our chakras are resonating with different planets. And here's a list of these chakras, right? So here's each chakra, and then you see associated planet, the Earth, and then also the Sun is also, it's not a planet, but actually it's a star, right? So, but it's a celestial body. And so we have those chakras here with the frequencies, and then there's a table with tones. And you can see for each planet, so to say, also for each chakra, there is a specific frequency. For instance, Venus, right, which is the third eye chakra, we have the frequency 221.23 hertz. This is the planetary frequency. Then this results into the tone A if we tune it to 442.46 hertz. So not 440 as a standard tuning, but a specific tuning for this planet, for this chakra, 442.46 hertz, and then also a specific tempo, BPM, which is 103.7. So let's go into this template now and see how that works. And basically you can see we have all the 7 chakras color coded. And here you can see the name of the chakra, and then you can see the frequency, like the tuning, the tone, and the tempo. And what is really important is that you have to set the tempo for each chakra, because otherwise the sounds will sound a bit weird, either too fast or too slow, if you play it in a different tempo. For instance, the root chakra here is recorded at 191 BPM, but the heart chakra is at 63 BPM. So if you want to play the heart chakra, you first have to click on that, and then you see it changing actually the tempo. If I go back here, if I click play here on the scene for the root chakra, you see it switches to 91. So always make sure first, before you play a chakra, that you select the right tempo for each chakra. Okay, so let's, for instance, start with the heart chakra. So I select the heart chakra, and you can see those are the groups, and each group contains loops. And we have basically 2 main sections, you could say. So the chakra forks, which we don't go into this video, it will get its own video, so ignore them for now. They will get a specific tutorial. But they are part of the sound healing section. So we have a sound healing section and a sound journey section, right? So The planetary frequencies, the crystal balls, the singing bowls, and the chakra forks, they are the pure sound healing. And then we added a sound journey section with ambient sounds, drone sounds, pads, and instruments. So maybe let's start with the sound journey section first. So we open the planetary frequencies. This is a group here that you can open by clicking on that symbol. And you can see for the heart chakra, which is colored green, we have the frequency of the earth year. So if we click play here, this will play the pure tone of the earth year, the frequency of 106.10 hertz. And then to make it a bit more full and round and harmonic, we created a chord also. Right, so now you have a major chord based on that frequency. So now we have a full rich sound. And now we can open the crystal bowls. And we can just click play here and see playing, the heart chakra bowl and another one. And if you double click on one of those clips, you will see in the clip view that those are loops that are seamless, but at the same time they have different length, right? So this one is 48 bars long, and this one is 36 bars long, and this one is 24 bars long. And this is just so that they don't all re-trigger at the same time, because if they would all have the same length and they would re-trigger at the beginning, they would all have sound at the same time. And so with having different loop lengths, we create some sort of melodic, polyrhythmic sensations. So they will always re-trigger at different times, and this will always appear, to be somewhat more interesting or more humanized in a sense. So that's the reason why you might wonder why we don't have different lengths. It's on purpose. So those are the crystal bowls, and we have always per crystal bowl a sustained sound, which is like the bowl being played constantly, and then the hit sounds, which is just individual hits of the bowls. And then we have the singing bowls, right, which in this case is the Tibetan bowl and the Hopi bowl. So this is the pure sound healing, right? And you might ask yourself, what is this here, those letters? They are basically dials to dial in effects. And if I click here on this little symbol, on the R symbol, we will actually see the return channel. Those are called sends, and they correlate with the return channels, which contain effects. So basically, on send A, we have a small reverb, a small drum room, which is equally to the sound of an instrument being played in a small room. And this is if you want to have a more natural small reverb. For instance, we have a shamanic drum where it makes sense. And maybe we could even put that bowl into this small room now. If we solo that, right? So now we get the sensation it's in a small room. But we could also put the cathedral and create a really big reverb. Put it in a big room. So when it's re-triggering the next time, you will hear a big, long reverb. I suggest that you wear headphones, otherwise it might be difficult to actually hear it. But as you can see, it is going through the cathedral reverb now. And then we have also a filter delay, right, which creates a little bit more movement. Right, you can see that here. And then we have an echo effect also, which is really cool if you want to put some emphasis on sounds. So let's see when it's coming in again. Right, and now I could just stop the clip and you will still hear it going. So this last effect, the echo effect, is made for transitions. So if you want to make it the sound fades out, it's really nice. So it's not just dying out, but it's like really fading slowly. So, and those are on each channel. And you can dial them in individually, and especially during the performance, right? So you can just put some echo here. But that's not the only way to create effects. Actually, let's see if we go into the instruments section here, to the sound journey. We can maybe see what we have here. Maybe some flutes. And as you can see, they're also not starting right away. This is also, again, to create variety. So if I double click on this channel here, you will see that each channel has a channel EQ, where I can EQ, you know, like if a sound is too bright, I can take out some of the highs, or make it brighter. So that's a really quick way to dial in your sound, or take out some of the lows if you think it's too heavy in the lows or too muddy. And then we have a high cut filter as well, so we can take out the lows here as well, right? Make the sound thinner or fatter, and create some nice resonances, sweeps. Right, if you boost the resonance a little bit, the filter Q, and you get those sweepy sounds. And again, here's also a reverb. And here you can even change the reverb length. So you can have a super long reverb. Sounds pretty cool on the flute. Or you can make it a little shorter. So this is the amount of reverb and this is the length. Really simple. And you can see we also have a little compressor here to glue the sounds all a bit more together, so that it's really all pre-mixed. And you can also add delay and feedback. So this is the amount of the delay, this is the amount of the repetitions, and this is tempo sync delay. So the lower the value gets, the faster the delay gets. It's synced to the beat, basically. We don't hear a beat now, but it's tempo synced. So if I go high, it will have a delay of 1 bar. Right? If we go shorter, it will be a 16th note all the way to 0. And then the last one is just the filter delay frequency, which allows you to sweep through the delay, which can also be interesting. Especially if you want to fade things out again, you can increase the delay, the feedback, and then we can just go from low to high. So we wait until the flute comes in again. Right? And there's also a way to just fade out sounds more elegantly. So you have this on each channel. And now let me show you some of the ambient sounds. So we can have some birds and a nice recording of Lake Atitlan from Guatemala. See, and now when I bring in a drone, the thing is, we don't want to have all the sounds, you know, playing at the same time, because it could be a bit too overwhelming or too busy in the mix, and also for the people listening to your journey. So try to keep it really simple. Don't play too many sounds at the same time, right? So let me get rid of this here, and so once I bring in a drone now, it will cover all the frequency spectrum where the bowls are. So all of a sudden you won't be able to hear the bowls so clearly. So make sure that you either play the crystal bowls or the drones, right? So now I can fade out the crystal bowls. We still hear the Tibetan bowls because they sound brighter. They are like in a higher frequency, and maybe some of the hits as well. But the sound journey is more like, you know, its own section. It works really well together with other sounds from the sound journey section. So now we have the drone. You can bring in a pad, you know, filter it in maybe. And you might ask yourself also, why is it all set to -6, right? So it has the reason we put it to -6 here, but then we boosted it +6 here again. And this is just so that you can adjust the volume. So if I increase this, you will see like from -6 to +0, it has the biggest resolution. So you can make this, you have the finest resolution in terms of volume change, because if you go lower, you see you have less space, and then you have less space. So what we wanted to is to give you the full spectrum. So we already set it to a reasonable level, but if you need to increase it, you still have like 60 dB, but you can really dial it in really fine. And that's why we set everything to -6 and then boosted it again 6 here on the utility. And we think it's a good way to create a balanced mix and have the maximum amount of resolution. So now let's have a listen to the instruments with a nice gong. And you can have the effects on the whole group, right? I could have the filter delay on the whole group. But I would suggest that you dial in each sound individually, and I find the chimes are pretty bright, so let's go to the channel EQ. Let's take out some of those highs. And maybe let's put some reverb on them, and a little more delay. You know, and this is how you can really, each element can have its own effects and its own dynamic, and you can change it and play with it. Listen to the harpy drum here. Maybe try another pad. You know, and you can really intuitively find a good blend between all those elements. Needs a bit more volume, and the reverb. Bring out the gong. Now, and you can just intuitively play. Really take your time in those journeys. And right now I'm doing everything with the mouse, but of course if you have a MIDI controller or more MIDI controllers, several, you can always map all those things, and it is more fun. But it's also possible to do everything with the mouse. So with the instruments, they can all be played together. They are created in the way that they support each other, but also here I would be mindful about how many instruments play at the same time. What works well together, you know, and then you can just create transitions like this again to fade it out. And then just stop the clip, and it will keep going a little longer. And we could go on like this forever, but that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I see you in the next video where we talk about the chakra forks and how to use them.